John chapter 19. Then therefore Pilate took Jesus and scourged him. And the soldiers, having plaited a garland of thorns, placed it on his head. And they cast a purple garment around him and said, Hail the King of the Jews! And they were giving him slaps. Pilate therefore again went forth outside and says to them, Behold, I bring him to you outside, that you may know that I find no fault in him. Jesus therefore came forth outside, bearing the thorny garland and the purple garment. And he says to them, Behold the man. When therefore the chief priests and the officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify! Crucify! Pilate says to them, Take him yourselves and crucify, for I find no fault in him. The Jews answered him, We have a law, and according to our law he ought to die, for he made himself Son of God. When therefore Pilate heard this word, he was more afraid, and entered again into the Praetorium, and says to Jesus, Where are you from? And Jesus gave him no answer. Pilate therefore says to him, Do you not speak to me? Have you not known that I have authority to crucify you, and I have authority to release you? And Jesus answered, You would have no authority against me, if it were not having been given you from above. Because of this, he who is delivering me up to you has greater sin. From this time Pilate was seeking to release him, and the Jews were crying out, saying, If you may release this one, you are not a friend of Caesar. Everyone making himself a king speaks against Caesar. Pilate therefore, having heard this word, brought Jesus outside, and he sat down on the judgment seat to a place called Pavement, and in Hebrew Gabbatha. And it was the preparation of the Passover, and as it were, the 6th hour. And he says to the Jews, Behold, your king. And they cried out, Take away, crucify him. Pilate says to them, Will I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king except Caesar. Then therefore he delivered them up to them, that he may be crucified. And they took Jesus and led him away, and carrying his cross, he went forth to the place called the place of the skull, where they crucified him, and with him 2 others, on this side and on that side, but Jesus in the middle. And Pilate also wrote a title, and put it on the cross, and it was written, Jesus the Nazarene, the King of the Jews. Therefore many of the Jews read this title, because the place was near to the city where Jesus was crucified, and it was having been written in Hebrew, in Greek, in Latin. The chief priests of the Jews therefore said to Pilate, Do not write the King of the Jews, but that this one said, I am the King of the Jews. Pilate answered, What I have written, I have written. The soldiers therefore, when they crucified Jesus, took his garments and made 4 parts, to each soldier a part, also the coat, and the coat was seamless, from the top, woven throughout. They said therefore to one another, We may not tear it, but cast a lot for it, whose it will be. That the writing might be fulfilled, that is saying, They divided my garments to themselves, and they cast a lot for my clothing. The soldiers therefore indeed did these things. And there stood by the cross of Jesus his mother and his mother's sister, Mary of Cleopas, and Mary the Magdalene. Jesus therefore, having seen his mother, and the disciple standing by, whom he was loving, he says to his mother, Woman, behold, your son. Afterward he said to the disciple, Behold, your mother. And from that hour the disciple took her into his own home. After this, Jesus, knowing that all things have now been accomplished, that the writing may be fulfilled, says, I thirst. A vessel therefore was placed full of vinegar, and having filled a sponge with vinegar, and having put it around a hyssop stalk, they put it to his mouth. When therefore Jesus received the vinegar, he said, It has been accomplished. And having bowed the head, he gave up the spirit. The Jews, therefore, that the bodies might not remain on the cross on the Sabbath, since it was the preparation, for that Sabbath day was a great one, asked of Pilate that their legs may be broken, and they are taken away. The soldiers therefore came, and they indeed broke the legs of the first and of the other, who was crucified with him. And having come to Jesus, when they saw him already having been dead, they did not break his legs. But one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and immediately there came forth blood and water. And he who has seen has testified, and his testimony is true, and that one has known that he speaks true things, that you also may believe. For these things came to pass, that the writing may be fulfilled, a bone of him will not be broken. And again, another writing says, they will look to him whom they pierced. And after these things, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Jesus, but concealed through the fear of the Jews, asked of Pilate that he may take away the body of Jesus. And Pilate gave leave. He came therefore and took away the body of Jesus. And Nicodemus also came, who came to Jesus by night at the first, carrying a mixture of myrrh and aloes, as it were, 100 pounds. Therefore they took the body of Jesus, and bound it with linen cloths with the spices, according as it was the custom of the Jews to prepare for burial. And there was a garden in the place where he was crucified, and a new tomb in the garden, in which no one was yet laid. Therefore, because the tomb was near, there they laid Jesus, because of the preparation of the Jews.